And it's Joey. Right, now, just to get started, let's just get an appreciation of Petty's chat room. Walk us through that. What's that about?
Well, Petty's Chatroom is an organization that educates the male counterpart about the female counterpart and vice versa, with the aim of helping these two genders to be able to live together in love and in harmony. Because we believe that if the female counterpart understands how a male counterpart is wired and vice versa, they will be able to clutch heads less, meaning that we'll be able to work towards our vision of eliminating or at least reducing gender-based violence in our society, and also getting rid of broken homes.
I like that. And I really believe it is important that, you know, I also get to understand as my female counterpart, you know, how you work, so that I know how to navigate in terms of addressing issues and stuff.
Exactly.
What men wish women knew about them. Yes. It's an event that's coming up. Let's speak to that. Now fully unpack that event.
Yes. Well, what men wish women knew about them is an event that is a platform that is open for both genders.
Okay.
What we're expecting in this event is for the men to bring their spouses so that they can be enlightened and educated by the male counterparts, because we have a lineup of panelists. Okay. We have a lineup of panelists that will be enlightening and educating the audience. And this talk show is going to be a heart-to-heart conversation, heart-to-heart feeling with the audience and also the panelists. Okay. And then it's for the female to ask questions and for the male to contribute. And we're expecting all men to bring their spouses, because this is a platform for them to be helped. You know, when you're at home, you want to say something, you can't say something. Right. This is the moment.
Yeah, and it's actually very, very important, especially, you know, that the whole GBV thing is really getting out of control.
It is.
What are some of the topics that will be covered? Because you did mention that you're gonna have a panel discussion, a few panelists. What are some of the topical issues that will be addressed? What are some of the topics that will be discussed at this amazing event?
Well, just to give you a little bit of icing on the
Please,
cake.
by all means, yes.
Remember that I'm from Namibia.
Right.
And the event is bringing Namibia meets Botswana.
Oh,
I mean, Namibia meets Botswana in gender-based violence and broken homes. Now we are bringing people from different countries, men from different countries, different backgrounds, different culture on one table. Right. Number one is to prove that all men are really wired the same. And number two, to prove that men, doesn't matter from where they are coming from, they still need the same thing. Do you understand?
Right.
So some of the topics that we will be looking at covering is the respect, men's ego. Men are not complex human beings. From what I have studied, they're not complex human beings.
Because that's what I was going to ask you next, that because obviously you've tried and tested this out in Namibia, what have you learned about the man? Go ahead.
Men are very simple human beings, you know, very simple human beings. They only need one or two things and then you'll be able to catch up with them. For example, number one of a man that a man wish every woman knew about them is that if you as a woman respects your man, it's as if you have the crown of his head in your hands.
That's very true.
You can go around it. Number one, all you need to do is respect this man. It doesn't matter whether he brings enough money in the house or not. It doesn't matter whether he's a drunkard or not. If you want to really bring him down and to bring him to your terms, just respect him.
And what's the other thing?
The man's ego.
Yes. We
want to go around the man's ego. You know, many times men do things to protect their ego. Do you understand?
Right.
They do a lot of things to protect their ego, which is also connected to respect again. Now, a man's ego...
And it is interlinked. Yes, go ahead, yes.
A man's ego is very important. That is why a man always protects his ego. Now, what is it that makes a man to snap? It's when you touch his ego. And what do you do not to touch his ego for you to be able to prevent this man from snapping?
I like that. I wish the event was tomorrow. Now, you know, because this has, you have had this before, right? In Namibia.
Yes, it was one of...
How impactful was it? Tell us about that experience.
Well, what men
and how forthcoming were the men? Sorry, yes, go ahead.
What men wished women knew about them in Namibia was one of the well-attended events that I had, because we've been in existence since 2018.
Right.
Now, it was I was very much amazed how men contributed towards the discussion and how they could open up. So that is where I realized that men want to talk, but they are not given the platform to say it as it is. So it was a wonderful moment that we had with men and women, and they all brought their spouses. You understand?
Yeah.
And to my amaze is that some of them even bought their spouses notebooks to take notes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when we do our research, or when we do a research after the event on certain men that attended, is that they were really very happy for the platform because they were able to open up, and their spouses also learned a lot. Because one thing I've also realized from that event is that when you speak to your spouse, even if you're telling them the thing that is your concern, they can't hear you. But bring them, let somebody else tell them the same thing that you are telling them, then they can hear you.
And why is that? It's the strangest phenomena.
It's the strangest one, yes.
All right. What are some of the challenges that you've noticed that both men and women are facing regarding dealing with their emotions? And how best do you think that can be tackled? I mean, one of them is that I want to raise a concern right there, but you're not going to hear me out. But when Tim comes and I tell him, and then he tells you, it sort of kind of works. But doesn't that also make me feel some type of way? And isn't that a challenge?
You know what is the most worrisome or the biggest challenge in relationships is love language.
What's that?
Love language. The language that your spouse understands. That is where the problem is, and that is covered in one of the in the movie that we have produced. Okay. So one of the biggest reasons why couples are clutching heads is because they do not know each other's love languages. For example, every man or most men think that every woman, if you give them money, they are fine. They're good to go.
Isn't that the case?
That's not the case.
Tell me more.
We have 5 love languages, remember.
All right.
And all women, or most of the women, think that, if I just open my legs and let's just have sex with this man, I have him all. Darling, that's not the case. You see, you might be pumping into a wrong love language. You are pumping into a woman that only wants me time. She only wants quality time, but you are pumping into her, or the language that you're speaking to her is gifts. You are just showering her with gifts. Later on, you will say that this woman doesn't appreciate me. But you're talking the different love language, and this woman is trying to tell you so many times that what you're doing is wrong. All I want is quality time. Let's sit together, let's have coffee, let's go for a game drive, let's go sit somewhere, let's drink coffee. But all you do is you just dish her with gifts. You dish her with gifts. At the end of the day, when you realize that it's not working, you want to walk away from the relationship because you think that you did your part. But you did not do your part well. You did not learn your spouse's love language. Love language is very, very important in the relationships.
And those are some of the things which will be unpacked and discussed at this event, what men wish women knew about. Right,
exactly.
As our parting statement, what would you like to say to the men that are actually watching us right now, to the women that are watching us right now?
Well, to all the women and all the men that are watching, more specifically men, right. The event on the 30th of November is an opportunity for you to bring your spouse and bring them to come and get the information that you might have been sourcing to them, but they were not getting it. Get your partner, get your spouse, get your wife, bring them to this event, and let's unpack everything. I'll be assisting you to unpack it.
Petrina, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm looking forward to that particular event.
Thank you so much.
Right, and that's how we come to the end of that conversation. I was talking to Petrina Simon from Petty's Chatroom, and she was just basically unpacking this upcoming event dubbed What Men Wish Women Knew About Them, which is essentially one of the strategies or ways to try and curb, or rather fight and eliminate GBV by promoting unity between the man and the woman, getting them to understand one another such that there's coexistence of peace in between those. And she pointed out something very interesting, that men are very simple. Respect the man, don't touch his ego. Right, and that's how we come to the end of it. And in context shall follow from the 2 o'clock hour. Otherwise, let's do this again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Quotas are important for the management of wildlife species that are overpopulated in the tourism areas. They are designed to enable the population to reach or remain at a particular level. Trophy hunting is the practice of killing large animals such as elephants. Botswana has the world's largest elephant population at more than 130,000, and the giant animals are often in conflict with humans in the northern region. The village of Mababe is situated on the banks of the Kwai River, approximately 125 kilometers northeast of Maung in Botswana. The Kwai River